Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. Really appreciate you being here. We're going to be talking about Iran. I want to give you an update on what's going on over here in the Middle East and this looming U.S. retaliation strike that you see here on your screen. That's imminent. Okay, it can happen at any moment. There clearly has been a delay because we're up to about 5 days now where this attack has not taken place. But we're going to go over that, why there is a delay. I'll discuss that a little bit. But just a little bit of background story here if you're new or maybe you don't understand what's going on here. Just on Sunday, about 5 days ago, today is February 2nd, by the way, 2024. So about 5 days ago or so, we had a drone strike, an enemy drone strike that hit a Jordanian military base. Well, it's a U.S. military base inside of Jordan. And this drone apparently followed an American drone into the base, so the air defenses were down. This enemy drone was able to make it into the base, and it hit the living quarters inside the base, okay? And it killed 3 U.S. service members and wounded about 40 others. Okay, so this was a massive attack, and the first time we have actual casualties due to what's going on over here in the Middle East since October 7th, when Israel was attacked by Hamas and then the war in Gaza began. So, right now we have a delay in response to this retaliation for that the killing of the troops in Jordan. Okay, there's a delay here, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. But let me show you this here on your screen. This came out just from 3 days ago from Fox News. Okay, there was at least 160 attacks, and this is just from a few days ago. I think we're upwards of almost 170 by now, last I saw. All right, so look at the amount of attacks that have happened. These are all at U.S. military bases all throughout Iraq, Syria, Jordan now. And there's been so many attacks by these militia groups, and all these militia groups are backed by Iran, the ones that are attacking these bases. So imagine Iran is facilitating these attacks by using proxies to launch strikes into these military outposts throughout the Middle East. And it's about time that the U.S. starts really responding to these attacks, because there's been about almost 170 now. And this was by far the worst attack, okay? This was the worst attack, was the one that just happened on Sunday in Jordan. So the U.S. has no choice but to respond to this matter. So let's go over this article here. The Pentagon defends delay in U.S. retaliatory strikes for drone attack. Okay, warning that the Middle East is facing a dangerous moment in time. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Thursday defended America's seeming delay in responding to Sunday's enemy drone attack that killed 3 American service members 4 days ago. The remains of 3 Army reservists killed in the base attack were expected to arrive stateside on Friday, with Austin joining President Joe Biden and the families at Dover Air Base in Delaware. In a press briefing, Austin said the U.S. is preparing a multi-tiered response to the attack that also minimizes collateral damage. So they're calling this a dangerous moment in time. That's the reason why they're delaying this. So what does it really mean by dangerous moment? Well, let me kind of summarize this for you. The U.S. is stuck in a pickle right now. They've got 2 choices. They either do nothing and allow these attacks to continue and allow troops to get killed, which they won't allow that to happen for much longer, right? They can't. Or they go and strike back at these groups. But if they strike, it raises the escalation, right? If they do nothing, then we get a bunch of troops killed and wounded, and then we're going to have mass chaos here in America, where, people are going to be pissed off that a bunch of people are dying over here in the Middle East for nothing, and the U.S. is not responding. The Biden administration is not retaliating. People are going to demand that we retaliate. And the U.S. is trying to not stoke a war over here in the Middle East. They've come out and said that. The U.S. has come out and said, we're not looking for a war with Iran. And Iran has come out and said, we're not looking for a war with America. with America. But at the same time, the U.S. is over here supporting Israel in their battle for, in Gaza. And we've got Iranian-backed militias attacking American troops at bases, attacking warships, attacking commercial shipping. And they're really at a point here where they can't, and I've been saying this too, they cannot just sit back and do nothing. We've been trying to do that for months now. And what did I say? If you've been following this channel for the past at least couple weeks, you would have seen, just 2 weeks ago, I was literally talking about this and saying this can't go on forever. We can't just continue to shoot down missiles and shoot down rockets and shoot down drones. Eventually, somebody's going to get killed. Eventually, a warship is going to be struck. Eventually, something major is going to happen, and the U.S. is going to have to respond. And then what did we get on Sunday with that Jordan attack on the U.S. military outpost Howard 22? We had 3 troops that were killed, and now look what's happening. Now we've got America having to, launch these retaliatory strikes. And I talked about this. I let you all know that was going to happen. I knew it was just really a matter of time before some troops were going to get killed or a warship was going to get hit. And then we were going to have to launch major strikes like what we're about to see here in probably any day now. Any day, any moment. It could happen right now. And, the U.S. is definitely trying to delay this, because they want to make sure that these strikes are precision, the targets are precise, that they don't escalate the war, and that they go after the source. But again, these attacks are going to continue whether we launch these strikes or not. None of the strikes that we've launched so far have deterred any of these groups or Iran or anybody from continuing these attacks. So just think about that for a moment while we talk about this. So U.S. bolsters defenses around Jordan base as it readies strikes in response to drone attack. The U.S. has bolstered defenses at a base in Jordan that was attacked by Iran-backed militants as it prepares for a wider U.S. response to the drone attack that killed 3 service members, a U.S. official said Friday. So this is a satellite picture of the base that was hit, the Tower 22, as it says right here. This was in northeastern Jordan. It was right on the borders of, very close to the borders of Syria and Iraq, like right in that little triangle area, northeastern Jordan. And this base came under attack by that drone and killed 3 troops, okay, and wounded 40 others at least. So right now they're bolstering their defenses over here because this base is clearly vulnerable to attack, and they don't want that to happen again. So they've been sending Patriot missile systems over here, and I think they're expecting this conflict to widen after these strikes, I think is what they're doing. They're coming out and claiming, hey, we're not trying to expand the conflict. We don't want war with Iran. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This is going to stoke the war. It's going to boost up the war. If it doesn't cause the war to happen, it's going to get us that much closer to an actual war with Iran. And if you guys weren't aware about this as well, Iran is very close right now to having nuclear weapons. They could have them in the next 6 months, or they could even have them right now, and they're just not declaring it. So I've been speculating as well, is it possible that the U.S. is going to use this opportunity as maybe they're going to pretend to go after these Iranian groups, but really the big strike is going to be on Iran? Is it possible? Because I think if they go ahead and strike Iran, it can't just be these little airstrikes. There's no way. There's no way, because it'll cause a war, and the U.S. won't get what they want, which is to denuclearize Iran. The only way they can ever launch any kind of a strike on Iran is a massive attack. I'm talking very massive, potentially even nuclear. Okay, potentially nuclear. And the reason why I say that is because the nuclear operations that they have, for their bunkers with their nuclear program, they're all hidden inside the hills in mountains inside Iran. So the only way we can possibly attack these facilities, these nuclear facilities, is to literally, we would have to nuke these sites, because many of the bunker buster bombs that we have, some of the most powerful ones, may not be able to penetrate deep enough to take out these facilities. So there's a very big possibility that if there is ever a strike on Iran, it could be nuclear. So I want you to understand that. So U.S. hints large response to Iran-backed militias is imminent, and Houthi rebels target another ship. So yeah, this is going to be a large response. It says right here, large response to Iran-backed militias is imminent. Okay, they keep saying militias. There's not really any talk about going after Iran here, and could this be a smokescreen? It's very possible, because I'm sure the US knows by now, especially from what we've done down in Yemen. That's a perfect example to show here that these strikes don't work. They think that it will. They think it'll deter them from, these Iranian groups from responding, and attacking more. But it doesn't. All it does is empower them and embolden them even more to strike back. So really look at this situation, how dangerous this is right now. And that's why Secretary Lloyd Austin says that. He says we're in a very dangerous position because if they're going to strike, it's gotta be meaningful. And it has to really deter them this time. And what's the only way to do that? I don't know. I don't know the only way. And the only thing I can think of is they're going to have to launch massive airstrikes frequently. I'm talking shock and awe, something major. It's got to be major strikes for them to really deter them. And even if then, it may not even happen. It may not deter them. So let's just kind of briefly go over this. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said Thursday it's time to further disable Iran-backed militias that have struck at U.S. forces and ships in the Middle East, and the U.S. is preparing to take significant action. They say significant action. Hopefully that means a larger attack, but we'll have to see. In response to the deaths of 3 U.S. service members in Jordan, for days the U.S. has hinted at strikes are imminent, while the threat of retaliation for Sunday's deaths has driven some militant groups to say they were stopping hostilities as late as Thursday. Yemen Houthi rebels were still attacking vessels and fired a ballistic missile at a Liberian flagship in the Red Sea. So I believe where it says here that some militant groups are saying they're stopping hostilities, I believe that was the Islamic resistance in Iraq. I believe they declared that they were going to discontinue their attacks against American forces for now. I'm not sure why. I think maybe they might be pulling out. I think maybe they're just trying to get away for right now and seek shelter, and they know they're going to be bombed heavily pretty soon. That's probably why. At this point, it's time to take away even more capability than we've taken in the past. So I'm telling you, this is going to be massive. Look at that. It's time to take away even more capability than we've taken in the past, Austin said. He said Thursday in his first press conference since he was hospitalized for prostate cancer. So previous U.S. strikes have not deterred attacks, just like I said. Since the war began, Israel and Hamas broke out in October. Iranian-backed militia groups have struck U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria at least 166 times. So see, we're almost at 170 by now, with rockets, missiles, and one-way attack drones drawing about a half dozen U.S. counterstrikes on militant facilities in both countries. The U.S. military also carried out airstrikes targeting the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. So we've been seeing more strikes inside of Yemen recently too, but most of these are small precision strikes on like launch sites. So the Houthis will get ready to launch some drones or something, or launch some missiles. Then we're striking them and taking them out. That's about it. There hasn't really been very many large scale strikes, in at least in the past like week. So we got a lot more to cover here still. Let's take a look at this too. All right, so Iran manufactured the drone that killed 3 U.S. soldiers in Jordan. So an Iran-backed militia in Iraq launched a drone against U.S. forces on Sunday, killing 3. So look at this. U.S. official confirmed to Fox News Digital that the drone that killed 3 American soldiers and injured more than 40 others at Tower 22 in northeastern Jordan on Sunday was manufactured by Iran. While the attack was launched by an Iran-backed militia in Iraq, President Biden's administration had previously said that it ultimately holds Iran responsible for the incident. Reuters first reported that the U.S. found Iran made the drone itself, citing multiple officials. The officials did not offer any details regarding the model of the drone beyond stating that it was Iranian-made. They said the U.S. was able to confirm the origin thanks to the shrapnel recovered out at the site of the attack. So, real quick, I apologize if there's lots of noise in the background. We still have a lot of city workers out here working outside and they're tearing things up, so I apologize if there's a little bit of noise. But anyway, getting back to this, they were able to confirm that it was an Iranian drone because they recovered the parts of the drone and it showed that it came from Iran. So is this pretty obvious? Yeah, it is obvious. Okay, it's obvious that this drone is going to come from Iran. We know that all these groups are giving these weapons to these militia groups and letting them launch these strikes. And they do this. This is really the age of proxy wars, is what this really is now. We're in the age of just using a proxy to fight a war for a larger country, because if the large countries get involved, it's just going to get really nasty. But if we get small militia groups to fight our wars for us, they can be contained, and you can try to gain, what it is that you want, in terms of your objectives. So that's what they're doing here. They're using all these groups to keep fighting these wars for them. And, we know that all these groups in the Middle East, all these militia groups, the Islamic Resistance, the Kataib Hezbollah, Hamas, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis, okay, there's countless groups in the Middle East that are all Iranian-backed, okay, but they're militia groups. They are not actually, Iranian soldiers that are committing these acts. So that's what's making it difficult for America to be like, okay, well, we're going to go after Iran. And obviously they don't want that, right? So let's talk about this too. Here's another sign that major strikes are coming, and Iran is trying to pull their troops away, so that way they don't have more of them that are killed. So look at this. Iran's guards pull officers from Syria after Israeli strikes. So there was that in Syria. There was a Israeli airstrike on a building inside of Syria. I think it was in Damascus. I just reported on this like a week or two ago. And this whole building got leveled. Okay, there was dozens of people in there. Many of them were Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. So basically there was a lot of officers in there from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It's basically the military of Iran. Okay, and several of them got killed in there, and lots of other troops were there from Iran. And this was an attack from Israel, not from America. So that's what this picture is right here, actually. If you look at this, this is the smoke. This is the smoke here from that building that got hit. I believe it was in Damascus. Yeah, Damascus, Syria. So I just reported on that. If you want to go see what happened there and kind of catch up on those details, you can go on my page and find it. It should be back within the last week or two. I think it was here January 20th. So about 2 weeks almost. So yeah, we've got Iran pulling their guards, okay? They're pulling their officers out from Syria because, America is going to be launching these strikes. And imagine if America takes out some of these groups, some of these, Revolutionary Guard Corps officers. Imagine if that happened. That could stoke a war, okay? So that's why they're pulling their officers out as well. So that's a sign that this is going to be a massive attack. I think Syria is going to get hit the hardest here. Because Syria's just there's so many militia groups there, and it's just an infested wasteland of groups that use Syria to attack these bases throughout the Middle East, also Iraq as well. Those two countries are primarily used by a lot of these militia groups to attack U.S. troops, so they're going to get hit hard. Okay, so Iran's Revolutionary Guards have scaled back deployment of their senior officers in Syria, due to a spate of deadly Israeli strikes, and will rely more on allied Shiite militia to preserve their sway there. Okay, the guards have suffered one of the most bruising spells in Syria since arriving a decade ago to aid President Bashar al-Assad in the Syrian war. Since December, Israeli strikes have killed more than half a dozen of their members, among them one of the guards' top intelligence generals. So yeah, Iran lost some very major generals that got killed over here in this strike. So I think they're trying to prepare for that and make sure that, they don't get some of them killed whenever America launches these strikes. Because like I said, like what you see there in the picture, we're going to see something like that. It's going to be massive airstrikes, and there's going to be a lot of people getting killed. And I think it's going to be very nasty. So finally, I want to talk to you about this. It's going to be the last article we discuss here. So Iran-backed proxy group threatens more attacks on U.S. troops. So look at that. This is literally just coming out today, guys. We haven't even launched the attacks yet. The retaliation event has not even happened, and these groups are already saying they're going to be threatening more attacks on U.S. troops. So this is why I'm saying this attack has got to be the biggest one we have seen in a very, very long time. Like, I'm talking about since America invaded Iraq, potentially. Okay, we're going to be seeing some really, really massive airstrikes here. And I think there's going to be a lot of heavy weaponry that's going to be used. We're going to be seeing some weapons come out from the U.S. military that they haven't used in a long time, or maybe some new technology. It's going to be big. I know it's going to be big, and it's just a matter of time before it happens. Okay. An Iran-backed militant group in Iraq has promised to continue attacks on U.S. troops after 3 American soldiers were killed in the drone strike in Jordan on Sunday. In a statement released Friday, Harakat al-Nujaba, one of the strongest Iraqi militias, announced that it plans to continue military operations against U.S. forces while allied factions have backed off from their attacks after the Biden administration said there will be retaliation. Akram al-Ghabi, the group's leader, called for an end to the Israeli military operations in Gaza and withdrawal of the American occupation of Iraq in a statement posted on X. So see, those are really the only options here, all right? Really the only options is either the U.S. stops supporting Israel and they pull back. They'd have to honestly completely pull their forces out of the Middle East, which is not going to happen. Okay, we already had, what's his name? Antony Blinken, Secretary of State, come out and say, you know, we have these troops in the Middle East to prevent ISIS from re-emerging. Okay, so if we pull those troops out, what's going to happen over there? Okay, these groups will grow much stronger, and we could eventually have another attack on the United States, which obviously could already happen right now because with what's going on with the southern border, right? It could happen right now. But that's technically the reason why they're over there, right? And then obviously to protect oil and stuff like that. We know we're getting oil from over there. And maybe even some other reasons that we're not being told. But for the most part, we don't have a lot of troops over there like we used to. And if we just pull them all out, it's going to create a lot of issues over there. But there's only really so much here that America can do. What can they really do in response to this? They either pull all the troops out, stop defending Israel, and then Israel's probably going to get attacked from all sides if that happens. And then we'll have to go back in and defend Israel again. You know, it's just, there's not much. There's not much you can do. It's either that or we launch these strikes and just go ahead and get it on. You know, get it on and get this war going already, because the war already began the minute that Israel decided to invade Gaza. The war began right there, because that's immediately when we had to start sending, you know, carrier strike groups over to the Mediterranean and you know, the Gulf of Aden, Red Sea, and all that. That's when the Houthis started attacking commercial ships. So the war already began back in October. Okay, and I think it was getting closer to firing up. We could all tell something was coming. And then bam, Israel gets attacked by Hamas. Okay, so this is a really big deal here, and you know, that's why I'm saying the U.S., if they're going to go ahead and launch these strikes, they're going to have to be massive. They're just going to have to be, and there's really no choice here. I'm not trying to take sides and say who's better here. You know, is America better? Is Iran better? I'm not trying to take sides here. All I'm trying to say is the obvious, and the obvious is that America is going to go ahead with these strikes, and they're going to have to be massive. And then my speculation, and I'm sure many of you are speculating, and if you agree with me, you know, comment down below. And if you disagree, that's fine. Go ahead and comment. It's okay for us to disagree. But in my personal opinion, I could speculate here and say that it's very possible that the U.S. could finally use this moment and go after Iran. I think it's very possible. This could be the moment for them to do that. And if that happens, oh man, just be prepared for something major to go down here. And, you know, this could be the beginning of something really, really major. I'm talking a very major war in the Middle East. And this is going to flare things up with a lot of other countries. And America's going to get involved in a war at a time where they don't need it. They don't need a war right now. Nobody needs war right now. There's way too many problems going on in this world. Lots of economic issues that need to be resolved. You know, lots of just everything, you know, and we are in such a tense time in this world. And if any of you would agree with me, you'd probably agree to say that we need more peace, right? We need more peace in this world. We don't need more terror. We don't need more bombings. We don't need more everybody attacking each other. Everybody just needs to be at peace and leave each other alone and be happy and be thankful and be grateful. You know, we need more stuff like that. We need more love in the world. We need more hugs, okay? Give out a hug. Give out some support. Give out good things, and let's not be over here bombing each other, but we all know that that's not a reality. That's a fantasy world. Okay? And this is only going to continue to get worse here. So prepare for the worst, be ready for the worst. Make sure you've got things, supplies that you need, because this could really pop off real quick. And what could happen here is if this war kicks off with Iran over here, oil is going to skyrocket like crazy. America will not be able to defend the Red Sea anymore and the Gulf of Aden. These ships will have to divert around Africa. And it's just going to be really bad economically. We're going to have more inflation, lots and lots of problems. So America's trying to avoid all that right now. And it's a very, very dangerous moment, just like Secretary Lloyd Austin said. So I hope you understand that it's a very dangerous moment too. So be ready for it. I hope you all take care. Take care of your families. Take care of yourself. Be ready for this because it's coming. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's all I got for you. We'll see you all in the next video. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you later.